Good evening. Welcome to Divination Station. It is Monday, so happy Moon Day. It has been a pretty intense full moon period, I will say that. Go ahead and give this a couple people a chance to get on here. And as always, I'm going to be sharing this out while people are jumping on. All right, looks like we have someone jumping on here. Okay. All right, sharing this out on my phone. All right, we got a few people jumping on here. Thank you for joining me. I am Liz Whitaker of Divination Station Tarot, and I will be talking about Wheel of Fortune today. Let me just share this out to my personal page. Oh. Sharing this out, Wheel of Fortune today. All right, if you are here, go ahead and pop in and say something so we know you're here. Welcome to Divination Station, brought to you by True Paranormal Podcast. True Paranormal, the podcast. I'm Liz Whitaker, your host for this broadcast. Today, we'll be discussing the Wheel of Fortune. So we are up to 10 in the Major Arcana. When you join the live broadcast, please take a moment to drop your name, where you're from, and your pronouns in the comments below, and we will go ahead and I will watch the comments. Share, once you share, comment hashtag shared, and I will do live card pulls at the end, provided we have time. Okay, don't forget to love or wow react this video, share to your page, and tag your friends in the comments. You'll not only be helping us improve our organic reach on the page, but you'll also be helping others that might be interested, help them find me. All right, now I'm not seeing my comments, so just give me a moment. Okay. Okay, looks like we see Ashley here. I'm not seeing the comments here, so you'll just have to bear with me while I try and figure this out. Okay, I'm going to have to watch the comments on my phone. Just bear with me one moment. I had to turn off my Bluetooth speaker because I was hearing it in the back. Okay, so for some reason, I'm not showing the comments on my screen here. So I'm going to go ahead and watch on my phone. So I do apologize if this gets distracting with me looking around. We got some shares already, so let me go ahead and get this down. Ashley, hi. Charlie, got you. Ashley, Quinn, Leah, and hello to Vicky and Tammy. Okay. So if you are familiar with our structure here, with my structure for my shows, what I will do is I go through the lesson initially, and then we go through the polls from last week, and we'll kind of talk about that, how they resonated with you for the week. We'll do another 3 cards for the week upcoming, and then we'll go through the tarot tip of the day. And after that, I'll do the live card pulls. So again, one card at the end of the broadcast, and go ahead and share. It looks like Caitlin popped on. Hi, Caitlin. Okay, so we are at the Wheel of Fortune. So this is the 10th card, Wheel of Fortune. There's a lot going on in this card. It is the middle of the major arcana. So we are about halfway through the Fool's Journey. After all the soul searching and solitude of the Hermit, sometimes we need a change of pace. And that's what the Wheel of Fortune does. What goes up must come down. Spinning wheel, spinning round. I am not going to sing any of the songs that were suggested in any of the books for this, so you're welcome. In Young and the Tarot by Sally Nichols, she opens the chapter for the Wheel of Fortune with a quote by Friedrich Nietzsche. Everything goes, everything returns, eternally rolls the wheel of being. So what does that mean? Yes, the Sphinx. So what that means is everything is always turning. The world never stops. If it did, we'd all actually have more problems. Caitlin, and again, I'm really trying to keep up with the shares as they're coming up. So stick with me. Okay. So the Wheel of Fortune is the 10th card in the major arcana, comes right after that Hermit. So after the Hermit, after our solitude, our soul searching, our introspection, all of that, we need to step out. You know, we can't stay there the whole time. We can't stay inside all the time. We gotta move on. And that's exactly what we do here. The ruling planet is Jupiter. Jupiter is, again, the planet of fate, good fortune, good luck, which will come up as well with this card. See, element of fire. So we do have that energy because it's always moving. We're always transferring energy from the top to the bottom, left to right. The Fools, so we are halfway through the major arcana, and we can set the Fool's Journey back or we can propel it forward. And it all depends on where the wheel stops, right? Hi, Tracy. Hi, Sarah. Fate is always present in our lives, but even the best laid plans can go awry. We always want to have our plan, have things set, but that doesn't mean that that's going to be the way things are going. Our fortunes can change just as quickly the other way, and we find ourselves having luck that we didn't even dare to dream of. It is that turning point. And hi, Cynthia. Hi, Kat. Thank you. So with that wheel, when the Wheel of Fortune pops up, we know that the tide's going to turn. Things are going to pivot one way or the other. So when this comes up, look where you're at in the cycle. Look at whatever cards are around it and see where you are at that point. Does it look like you're going to go on an upswing? Or is that upswing all the way up and you got to kind of level off for a little bit? Now we'll talk about the actual symbolism on the card. Some of them have been pretty simple, pretty straightforward. The Hermit, pretty straightforward. You know, we kind of got everything there. But Wheel of Fortune is one of those cards that pulls in from so many different traditions, so many different cultures, that it can almost be overwhelming. So we look at the card, and someone already mentioned the Sphinx. The Sphinx is sitting right on top. And the Sphinx is that, you know, idea of wisdom, Stoic wisdom. We go to the Sphinx for that wisdom. It had the four corners, or the four corners of the earth, the four directions, the four seasons, the four elements and the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac. So we have the angel for Aquarius right up here. The eagle is Scorpio. The lion is Leo, and the bull is Taurus. So those represent the seasons. The fixed zodiac signs represent the beginning of a season. So we have those. So 4 seasons are represented. Also, the lion is fire, Leo. The eagle is water, Scorpio. The angel is air, Aquarius. And the bull is earth, Taurus. So we really have those ideas, those like quadrants almost. But that's not even all that's on the card, right? Got some people popping in here. Go ahead and share your name, where you're from, your pronouns, and once you share the broadcast out to your page, to a group, anything like that, hashtag shared, and I'll get a card for you at the end. Okay, so we also have we have the snake on the left here, which is representative of the Egyptian god Seth. So symbolizes destruction and death. On the right, we have what kind of looks like an imp to some. It's actually the jackal god of Anubis. And Anubis is the psychopomp. Brought the souls from the living to the land of the dead. And the Sphinx holds a sword of truth. So the kind of the middle of death and rebirth. So we have that idea of death, rebirth, reincarnation. So we have the signs so now, we've kind of talked about the 4 corners. We've talked about the figures on the sides of the wheel. And now we'll talk about the actual wheel. So in the middle, it has letters that we recognize. T-A-R-O. And if you really look into the symbolism, it can be read a few different ways, 4 different ways. Rota, which is Latin for wheel. Tarot. Orat, O-R-A-T, Latin for speaks, which would be the root of orations, anything like that, speaking. Torah, T-O-R-A, which is Hebrew law. And Ator, which is an Egyptian goddess of love. So we kind of have all of those things represented in there with just those 4 letters. We also, in the very middle, we have the alchemical symbols. And what does alchemy try to do historically? Take one form to another. So it's the idea of ever-changing forms. So the alchemical quadrants, if you will, was Mercury to the north, sulfur to the east, water to the south, and salt to the west. So all of those were the 4 components of alchemy. And then we have the Hebrew letters, which are the Tetragrammaton, which is the most powerful name of God. So that's a lot. That's a lot of symbolism in one card. There's a lot going on with that. So when this comes up, pay attention to what pops up to you when you first see the card. Is it the 4 quadrants? Is that what pops up for you? And pay attention to that. What does that mean for you? Are you shifting seasons in life? If the middle pops up to you, the wheel, what sort of alchemical changes are you going through? I know there's a lot to this card. Got a lot of people popping on and sharing. Thank you. If you have any comments or any questions or anything about the card itself, definitely let me know. What decks are you working with right now? What does the Wheel of Fortune look like in your deck? What do you feel when it pops out? And we'll be looking at the different versions of the cards that we have been working with as well. So keywords are fate, good luck, karma, represents a turn for the better. Again, if someone's going through some tough times, it indicates a turn for the better. If there's any risk-taking cards, if the Fool pops up or any of the aces, it can really mean taking that leap of faith and jumping into that new opportunity. And this is going to kind of like propel you there. Like how the figure of Anubis here looks like what's even holding him, you know? Looks like he's about to be propelled on. And Ashley's working with the Trusty Crow deck. Love it. I gotta get my hands on that deck, I think. So we have, again, what the Wheel of Fortune is kind of what it's made of, and what the symbolism is. Which again, there's a lot of mythological symbolism in it. Hebrew letters, it's heavy. But it's a good card that when it pops up. All right, so the thing is, with all of those symbols, they weren't on the card initially. The initial card, so we'll look at the Tarot de Marseille. You still have, it's actually looks more like a wheel. It has that crank that you can turn. And does look like figures around it, but it doesn't have the mythological symbolism that's been interjected in the Rider-Waite-Smith. They almost look like, one looks like a monkey, one looks like a dog, and one looks like a person on the top. And they kind of look like they're taking a journey around that. So this Wheel of Fortune doesn't have any of that major symbolism. That didn't come in until the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And if you look at the Thoth deck, it's very similar to that Marseille deck. You know, we have that wheel. It's a little bit more stylized. We do have the lion on top. And we do have, it looks like the alligator god down there. I cannot remember what the alligator god's name is. But it was the Egyptian god that would actually devour your soul, devour your heart, if it was heavy on the scales of Matt. Hi, Mel. So that alligator god would come up and eat it. So we got that there with that sword. So again, you know, even though Thoth is, you know, rife with so much symbolism, it's different than that Rider-Waite-Smith. You know, we have almost like lightning on the top, lightning bolts coming down. So we have that like alchemy of galvanization, that fire energy that the card represents. And the swirls kind of give that idea that it's almost like a water wheel is kind of what I'm getting. It's that fire card, but it also has that like watery turning feel to it. So, you know, down here we do have the symbol for Jupiter. And this one is actually called Fortune. So dropping the wheel and just calling it Fortune kind of really gives the interpretation a little more on that luck side of things. And in the Tarot of the Cat People, it's going to be very similar to that. So here, it almost looks like a shield. It almost looks like the figure's holding a shield. You know, and we have that duality here with those two cats, the orange cat and the blue cat. So we still have that wheel imagery, but this really reminds me more of a shield. So that might have more that might resonate differently in a reading as well. Ooh, Cynthia's working with a Gilded Tarot. So the Gilded Tarot is a really gorgeous deck. Tarot has it's deep with symbolism, and it's really pretty. There's a lot there. The colors are really rich. There's a lot of detail in it. I have the Gilded Lenormand deck, which is very similar in style. There's a lot packed into each card. And with that deck, it's really nice that you can kind of see what pops out to you. So, within this card pops up, again, really see what calls to you, and really hone in on that. And what does your intuition tell you about that specific card? So a couple more examples. I do have the Wonderland Tarot here. So we don't actually have a visual of the wheel, but if you remember in Alice in Wonderland, they're all marching along the beach and they're walking in a circle. So we have the dodo, the dormouse, the owl, the woodchuck, and the vulture. So here, you kind of have that idea of Wheel of Fortune as the animals themselves going in the circle. And this deck itself is really, it's like whimsical. They use different things for suits, like pentacles or oysters, and it really plays off like the original illustrations from the Alice in Wonderland. All right, so we have the Heindel deck. I haven't pulled this one out yet. This deck is really interesting. It kind of combines some of the Rider-Waite symbolism with a little bit more depth, like the Thoth deck. Can also bring in runes. So you can see in the upper corner here, it's going to have a rune in it. And runes are not my specialty. I have not studied them enough to know what that one is. It might start with an A, and I'm real sorry. So if you do know what that rune is, go ahead and pop it in the comments. And then it has the Hebrew letter, the symbol of Jupiter. And the art on here is it's really subtle. So you kind of got to get really close to see that imagery. So, here we have a couple of the faces above here that almost look like they're looking down. It does look like a map. Yeah. So we have the spokes of the wheel, and you can kind of see different hands coming up. You can see different animals. There is a snake over here. Over here, it looks almost like an eel. And then we have some mushrooms. So this deck is really interesting to use because it is really subtle, and you kind of got to all of the colors, everything kind of plays into each other with the Heindel deck. That's Haindl. Mystic Tarot of the Cats. It looks like a map from farther back. Oh, I can absolutely see that. And that's, so one of the cool things about this deck actually is it looks, as you come closer, it looks totally different. You can pull different things out. So it's like, what is hidden? Tarot of the Mystic Cats. This actually has a very similar feel to Tarot of the Cat People. So you have almost like a mosaic, like a mandala, with the Om in the middle, and then surrounded by the 4 elements. And it's, a nice big, looks like so the cat looks like he's playing with that wheel. You kind of get that movement idea. It's kind of like playing with it, toying with it. And this is the wheel. And Joanne popped in. Hello, Joanne. So this deck, this is my first time bringing this one out. This is the Mary Mary-EL Tarot. And this deck is kind of wild. It's a little bit, the cards are very shiny for one. They're very evocative. They're very evocative of emotion of all sorts. Like here we have the idea that she's on a canoe, she's on a ship, and the wheel is positioned. And this almost has that idea that like fate is blind. So this has that idea that, you know, karma, fate, fortune happens, but it's not predestined. So it has that idea that fortune is blind. And on the next one, I believe this is Tarot of the Gnomes. It did not come with a book when I got it. And that this one's just kind of cute. It's just kind of like riding it like a unicycle. So this one has a bit of like irreverence to it, where some of them have that really heavy feeling. Some of them are a little bit, that's the back, have a little bit more playful. This one might actually be fairy wings. So yeah, the Wheel of Fortune, a lot on the cards symbolically, but the meaning can tend to really means, you know, that switch in fate, that everything is always kind of turning. If you have popped in, please go ahead and like or wow react, share out, and once you hashtag shared, I'll get you on the list for a 1-card reading. My comments are not showing up through Facebook here, so I'm actually reading them on my phone, so I do apologize if I am missing comments. I'm trying to keep up, but it's hard when they're not here. So we are right about the halfway mark. Divination Station is sponsored by True Paranormal, the podcast by Leo Rizzuti. Leo Rizzuti takes you on a journey into the supernatural with the mysterious, the strange, and the things that simply cannot be explained. Join in by following True Paranormal, the podcast, on Facebook, where you'll be treated to spooky stories, tips for doing your own investigations, and interviews with paranormal investigators every week as you catch up with Leo on True Paranormal, the podcast. Okay, so we've gone through the Wheel of Fortune, and we'll go ahead and look at the cards that we pulled from last week. So last week, we pulled 8 of Wands, so fast movement. So when you're looking at these cards, think back from last Monday till today, and how may have these energies shown up for you? Fast movement, Page of Cups, showing up in a very loving, intuitive, artsy kind of way, really showing us a new way to give and receive love. And then Death. So transformation. Maybe that quick motion and that Page of Cups shows up and really shows us, you know, a different way, and we really do a check-in, and, you know, maybe we make some changes. So how have these shown up for you this week? I know for me, this is always me. Last week was actually a little slower than the week before. This week, I have a pretty packed week as well, with individual appointments here, class on Wednesday. I'm doing Soulmates in the Tarot at Be Healthy in Hamburg, New York. So if you are in the Buffalo area, go to Be Healthy's website and sign up there. So yeah, everything is always really fast for me. I think something, and then all of a sudden it happens tenfold. Page of Cups. For me personally, Page of Cups is just kind of reminds me to be kind, to be nice, to be gentle. Yes, Ashley, always wands. That 8 of Wands is like crazy. So Page of Cups is really, just really kind of tries to tell me to kind of be nice, and I'm trying. And Death, transformation. We're pretty much in the middle of winter. Spring is on its way. And really, always being open to that transformation. So that was our draw from last week. I do want to talk a little bit about the full moon that just happened. I don't know about anybody else, but the past 2 nights I have had difficulty sleeping. I fall asleep fine, no problem falling asleep at all. But I wake up usually between 3 and 4, which is the witching hour, of course. Saturday night, could not get back to sleep and was awake again at before 6. Slept a little bit better last night. I woke up a couple times, but I was able to get back to sleep. So this full moon was in Leo. So really courageous, really full of that fire energy, really asking us to really take a look at what we have, what have we been holding back? What did that 8 of Wands unleash for us? What are we moving forward with? So really intense energy with that. And did anybody do anything in particular for the full moon? I know my favorite thing to do for the full moon is to plan a nice full moon ritual and then fall asleep. That's my favorite thing to do. I did do my full moon in Leo tarot spread. I posted it on my Instagram. Hi, Jenna. Jenna just popped in. But yeah, that's my favorite thing to do, is to plan and then fall asleep. So Mel says, thought about the full moon. I realized that all of the snow outside is frozen moon water. Yes, it is. Perfect. I have done moon water in the past, but then, when it got so cold as it did in Buffalo, New York, this past weekend, you run the danger of whatever container you're putting the water outside in breaking. So absolutely. I've done that before. I've scooped snow into a bowl, let it melt, and that's my moon water. That is ingenuity and witchcraft at its finest. So shuffling the cards here, we're going to go ahead and pull the 3-card forecast for this week. So we have the moon in Libra coming up tomorrow. I did make a little post of this on my Facebook group. Tomorrow the moon is going to be void of course for about the better part of the afternoon into the evening. So void of course means the moon's just kind of hanging out. It's not really in a sign. It hasn't got there yet. It's pulling out of the sign it was in and heading towards the new one. Void of course is a great day to rest. Quinn says they were confused by the days, thought it was Saturday, and someone just said Sunday. To be honest, it all depends on time zone. And so if it's 2:30 a.m., we're not, realistically, most people aren't going to do something at 2:30 a.m. on the dot. And with the full moon, you get, basically a day or so on either side. It's not gonna, your moon water is gonna be just as effective if you do it, that the day right after or right before. Because life happens, scheduling happens, we forget. So totally okay. And Quinn said they burned, released, and received mood water crystal cleanse. Heck yeah. Perfect. Release and receive. So that is a wonderful thing to do on the full moon. So the full moon, we can release. And as the moon goes back into waning, everything that we released goes away. All right. So the cards for this next coming week, we have the Emperor. So good old Emperor energy. We're in an Emperor year, and we got Emperor card. And Ashley says, cleansed all my crystals and made moon water. Perfect. Perfect. The World. So the World is kind of like the Wheel of Fortune's like older sibling. And we'll talk about this in a little bit. But you can kind of see some of the similarities to the Wheel of Fortune in this card. Ooh, and 10 of Swords. Okay, so for this week, the Emperor energy, Emperor Aries energy, again, really fiery, really intense, really kind of taps into your energy. And then the World. So again, that idea of really something coming to a conclusion in order to make space for something new. And 10 of Swords. So sometimes when things change and, we're always going through something changes, something starts, it's almost like, when can I actually just live my damn life and just adjust to the changes that just happened? When can I actually do the work I need to do and not have things change all the time? That's kind of what I'm getting from this card. All of this big energy is great, but at the same time, it can be very difficult to actually move forward and live when everything's changing. And this card is just like, come on. Like, really? Okay, there we go. So for this next week, kind of take a look and do a check-in where these energies are coming in for you. And we'll go ahead and we'll go over them next week. So we got Emperor. I've taken to writing them down, otherwise I have to rewatch the post, which is fine. If you are joining and you are watching the replay, please hashtag replay. So I can pay attention to the comments and pop in and answer. All right, and Lydia popped in. Hello, Lydia. All right, so we're up to the tarot tip of the day. Tarot tip of the day is, let's talk about spreads. So we're going to start pretty simple. What is a tarot spread? A tarot spread is just where you're putting the cards and what they mean in that spot. Most people are going to recognize the Celtic Cross. Celtic Cross is the 10-card spread. So you have a card, and then you have a cross here, and then 4 going up the side. That's a wonderful representation in this visual media, I know. And it has things like where you're at, what's crossing you, what's above, what's below, recent past, recent future. And you're going to see different forms of that spread. They have slightly different names for the spots, but they're all basically the same idea. You can do a 3-card spread. Past, present, future is a real kind of simple 3-card spread. And the spread, again, is just the name for the structured laying out of the cards. If you're just doing 1-card pulls and you're doing it as an intuitive practice in the morning, and throughout the day you're like, I want to know what this thing is. So you might want to do a spread for that. Maybe you're kind of doing a check-in with your energy overall. and you want to do a Celtic cross. You want to see what's going on with that. That's what doing the tarot spread is for. I do have a couple books here, and the new Tarot Handbook by Rachel Pollack is really cool. It has spreads for every major arcana card. So last week when we did the Hermit, there's actually a Hermit spread. So today for the Wheel of Fortune, the Wheel of Fortune is here. What turns the wheel? What outer change will come? What inner change will come? What new situation will I face? What rises? What falls? What is at the center? I also have here, I really like to support independent publishers, deck makers, things like that. This one is called A Small Collection of Specialized Spreads. This is new. It was published by The Dark Exact, and you can follow them on Facebook, on Instagram. And this is a really, again, it's an independent publisher, and there's spreads that people made and entered in. So first draft spread. There's going deeper. So that's if you want to, really deep dive a topic. This will give you an outline to do that, I guess. This one also has different spreads for the different major arcana cards as well. So that's a really cool little book. I actually got it on Etsy and just got it last week. Another one, complete book of tarot spreads. You're going to find a lot of these. Yes, the only tarot book you'll ever need. Yes. So anything like that. I know there's one that if you pull a card, you can do a spread on that card for every major and every minor. I love that idea. Especially good when you have repeating cards. We talked about that a few episodes ago. So this is nice. There's 122 layouts in here. You can also make your own. If there's a specific situation, you can formulate a spread on that. Last year, I did one around this time. I had some Valentine's Day specials. I made one called Should I Stay or Should I Go? And I, kind of decided the shape, decided what I wanted to ask, and made the spread. So don't, hold yourself to what you find in the little white book. Although those are kind of cool because they sometimes have specific spreads for that deck. I have a Dark Angels tarot, and the customized spread in that is it comes out like wings, and that's really cool. So have fun with it. Don't think you have to do the Celtic cross every single time. You definitely don't. So that's the tarot tip. Okay, looks like we're getting into our one card readings. And like I said, I did try to go in order, but I do apologize. I'm not able to see the comments on my screen, so I'm doing them on my phone. So I hope I got them all. Okay, so starting off with Charlie. All right, Charlie, we have the Empress for you. The Empress is that divine feminine energy in the creative way. Whatever you have been putting off, putting energy into, it might be the time to start doing that. We have that Venus energy. Venus just entered Aries. So there's a lot of fiery energy, a lot of energy around creation right now. But also stay in touch and stay grounded. And really just take up some space, reclaim that divine feminine side. So maybe some, real good self-care this weekend might be good. Okay, Ashley. Ace of Pentacles. Ace of Pentacles is that new opportunity. Spirit is handing you in the realm of earth resources. What is it looking for you? What does it look like for you right now? Is it grounding? Is it a new way to ground yourself? Is it a new opportunity for kind of a new space, having that garden? I know it's not quite like living among the trees, but maybe there'll be an opportunity to come springtime, kind of plant some things out there. So you do have that new opportunity to do a check-in with the resources. Not a wand, I know. But, so definitely do a check-in with those resources. Perfect. And that way you can kind of keep in touch with, Mother Nature, keep in touch with that side while having other opportunities around you. Corinne popped in, hello. And Quinn asks, has anyone else been tired? Yes. Like I said, I have not been sleeping well. This full moon definitely kicked my ass a little bit for some reason. Definitely waking up a lot in the middle of the night and just kind of staring. I do have on one of the guided meditation apps I use, there's one called Middle of the Night Meditation, and I kind of like it because it's like, it's not your fault. Doesn't it suck to be awake in the middle of the night? And then it talks about like a coat thrown on the bed, and it's just boring enough to put you back to sleep. All right, Quinn is next. 5 of Swords. So with the 5 of Swords, there is an argument, even thought process, negative thoughts, arguments, anything like that with someone, and they really think that they've won. They really think that they have bested you. And they may think that, but the truth is they have not, and they may not have realized it yet, but they will. So again, it's not a good feeling. You kind of know what's going on, and you really can't do anything about it until that person kind of sucks it up, turns around, and realizes what's going on. All right, Leah, you're next. Nine of Swords. As we're all talking about not being able to sleep, Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords is that waking up time. And it's kind of twofold, right? We wake up from, maybe a bad dream or, something in our life that's happening that is not so good. And we wake up and, we realize that, it was all a dream. It was all a nightmare. Or we wake up and realize that, we have another day to affect this thing. We have another day to fight. We wake up another day to fight. It is actually making me yawn. So Leah, that's Nine of Swords. A lot of swords today. So again, that's that mental, the thoughts, what we have going around in that realm. All right, Caitlin is next. And yeah, Quinn, it might not be, as obvious to you right now, but definitely something to reflect on. All right, and Caitlin, strength. So we talked about strength, you're welcome. Strength is, all about that inner strength, that inner fortitude. So for Caitlin right now, I'm kind of seeing a relationship that's like mutually beneficial. Someone is giving and someone is taking, but the person that's taking is also giving. So it's that kind of feedback loop. And it really is a test of strength, not in a bad way, but it's really proving to you that you can rise to the challenge. Is kind of what's coming up for you with that. Again, that is for Caitlin, and that is strength. All right, Cynthia, you are next. Okay, so 9 of Swords again. So again, not really being able to sleep. And I think what's coming through for you right now with this is more of an anxiety feel, more of something coming through at night that is either preventing you from falling asleep easily, or when you wake up, it's there going through your head. So kind of do a check-in, maybe have a toolbox for what do you do when this happens? Is it putting on, a podcast? Is it putting on a meditation? Is it, what is it that's going to put you back to sleep? So that's kind of what I'm getting for you. All right. Monica is next. Seven of Pentacles. Okay, not another sword. Seven of Pentacles is about kind of do an energy check-in, do a resource check-in. Have you been putting all of your energy and resources in the right spot? And if you have, you kind of got to wait for that to come up. You got to wait for that answer to really surface. Kat, all right. Again, thank you for letting me know. Comments are kind of a bit weird right now, so I'll get you, Kat. So with the Seven of Pentacles, really do that check-in, and you might have to be patient. So again, that was for Monica. Seven of Pentacles. All right, we got Kat next. Knight of Swords. So Knight of Swords, Knights are messengers. So with the Knight of Swords, there is something. Cynthia, I gotcha. Cynthia, you were Nine of Swords as well. So Knight of Swords is speaking quickly and maybe speaking too quickly. So maybe do a check-in when you are either in a conflict situation or just something that isn't quite going right. Do a check-in that you're putting a little bit more space between like the words that you're saying. Like kind of do a check-in with that. because the things that you're saying are coming off like that. They're coming off a little harsh. So maybe do a check-in with that, and maybe, evaluate your communication style in whatever situation that's kind of showing up for. Okay. Well, we are wrapping up here. Thank you so much for everyone that did pop in and share. Again, if you did share and I did miss you, please let me know. It was definitely not done on purpose, but for some reason I can't see the comments up there, so I'm doing it on my phone. Tammy, all right, thank you. And I tried to catch it. All right, and Four of Pentacles. So Tammy, this is really looking, so again, resources, money, material items. What are you holding on to very tightly? You're holding on to something so tightly that nothing else is able to come in. You aren't able to, okay, so maybe, yeah. So Facebook might be being weird today. So check in with how you are handling and distributing like resources, right? So that can be, it can be money, it can be time. What are you holding on to so tightly? It's actually blocking your heart chakra, your solar plexus chakra, and your crown chakra. You're holding on so tight that nothing else can really get in. And you aren't holding on. There's no negative feelings, like you think you're doing the right thing with it, but it's actually not allowing the universe to provide you what you're really asking for. So just kind of do a check-in with that. Okay. So thank you very much for watching Divination Station on Three of Cups, Divine Arts. Definitely like Three of Cups, Divine Arts. Turn on the notifications so you can get notified whenever any of us goes live. If you are watching the replay, #replay, and I will get to your comments as well. Coming up next is Coraline Hemlock. And next week at 8 o'clock, Divination Station will be back, and we'll be talking about justice. Go ahead and find me on Facebook. If you are in the Buffalo area, I do individual tarot, oracle, pendulum. I can also do spell consultations. Been doing a ton of those lately, and I love it. So find me on Divination Station Tarot on Facebook. Give me a follow and a like. And get a hold of me if you would like a more in-depth appointment. I can also do Facebook video, Skype, email, anything like that. And I think that's it. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week.